and this obviously leads us to this general idea of how color and trim and finishes also, you know, leads to what the brand is all about. But I wanna before we get there, there was just something really interesting that you have just mentioned with the UI and UX and the connection with color and materials. I had a conversation the other day with somebody. It was extremely interesting because I never thought about this, but I want to share this quickly. He said, you know what a lot of people don't understand is the more you do with screens and what happens on a screen, the more impact and the more connection you need with color and trim. And I asked him, I was like, why is that? And he's like, well, just imagine you make a decision that you have some chrome bars or something like that in a car, and your UI is supposed to copy that so that you have a coherent kind of, system going on and a coherent kind of language going on. And he said it's it might be an easy thing to do for the color and trim team, but this could be one of the toughest thing to program and to bring onto the screen. So we need to have this communication together and maybe just tell them, like, this is so complicated, it's maybe not worth our time to program it, or it's just going to be too expensive. Can we do something differently? And I think, you see that a lot, is that there is little communication between what happens on a screen from, colors perspective, obviously in that sense, to what happens on maybe seats and stuff like that, because this was completely forgotten. So like the language that you're trying to build with the color and trim for the interior, with everything that's connected to it, can be destroyed because there was not enough communication with the UI UX. And when he said that, I was just like, this is another task for color and trim to consider, because if they don't do that, or if the communication between those two areas is not there, this could completely destroy the visual picture that it tries to paint.
Yeah. I think I can tie this together in an answer, including the branding there. So when you look at a company has a certain flavor and a certain spirit. And this is something with CMF, of course, when we design a product, we not only look at the customer and the clientele and the product itself. What does the product represent? What is it supposed to talk or speak? Who is the customer we're making it for? But also, what does this product represent on the brand side? This product needs to be recognizable with a certain flavor and feeling that represents the brand. So all of these items have to be consolidated into the CMF development. And also then talking about the user interface and user experience now, with having screens getting more dominant as core engagement points in the vehicle, and we're losing kind of the hard buttons. It is very important that the user interface gets seamlessly integrated with each CMF theme. And you have maybe on one product, let's say 3 to 5 different themes in an interior. Maybe you have a very light one, you have a sporty one, you have a you name it, different one. And the user interface needs to speak the same language and represent the same flavor than the architecture, the CMF, and the overall brand perception. So this is actually a very difficult thing to do as well. That's why we try to always have meetings and talk and show them the finishes we're using in the vehicle, so they understand, okay, this is kind of the base, this is the mid, this is the up, this is the haptic. We let them touch the materials. We show them the real color on a product, because the real color on a real product and the color on a screen is very different. Um, so they understand, okay, how can we use certain colors on that interface that could work with every trim level, that could work maybe through different product ranges, because you don't want to do a new user interface for like 3 different cars. That's going to cost way too much money. So let's say you have a city car, you have an SUV, and you have a truck or a crossover. So all of these different flavored vehicles that have the same brand flavor need to then have a user interface that seamlessly integrates the CMF and the branding. So that's a bit of a spagat, so to say, to make, and for them, actually a very high task to do so. The other fact is, of course, many people are colorblind, so you have to do something that's on a safety perspective, um, having features in there that are color, but color that can be seen.